Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jessica, I'd like to begin by asking you, what role has your family played in shaping you to be the person that you are today?
Well, everyone's family is their foundation. The people they can turn to whenever life is not going according to plan. And say if you had a bad day at school and it's just bringing you down, you can always turn to your parents or your brother and sister, and they can just lift your spirits up by making you laugh or just taking your mind away from it. And because of that, I know that whenever anything bad happens, I can always turn to them.
How has academic decathlon impacted you?
Well, first of all, it has helped me study tremendously. I remember, especially freshman year, I used to procrastinate it, horribly. I would wake up early, 1 in the morning, just to finish projects. But with academic decathlon, you can't do that because it has to be a continuation of studying to get to a certain point, like to regionals or state. And because of that, I've developed making schedules for studying time, say from 6 to 7 o'clock, I will study art, and then 7 to 8 study social science, and leave the rest of the time for homework. And that has helped me tremendously. It helps me with my grades, and it's helped me succeed in decathlon.
What's been the most challenging event for you?
Impromptu speaking. Prepared speech, you have so much time to just prepare for it, and it's easy. You can recite it all the time, and eventually you'll just get really comfortable. But impromptu, it's the one thing you can prepare for, but you never know what they're going to ask you. What are the 3 little topics they're going to give you, and you only have a minute to come up with everything. You have to come up with the outline, the introduction, and for me that's the most difficult, because sometimes when I see it and then I'm trying to come up with the outline, I get my 3 topics, but once you're giving the speech and you just get caught up, say, on topic 1, you kind of forget the rest of the topics, and that can be really difficult. But I've been working on it, and I've become a tad bit better about just keeping it in my mind, and yes.
What university do you plan on attending, and where do you see yourself in the next 5-6 years?
I am planning on going to Bowdoin College in Maine, and being a Texan girl, I'm going to have to accustom to the weather, but hopefully I can do that. And I chose Bowdoin because when I was deciding which college to go to, my first question was whether I wanted to go to a small school or a big school. And after visiting the college campus, I decided that I really wanted to go to a small school. Just because when you're in a large school, you can just be shuffled around and not get noticed. You can be in classes that are 200 plus students, and you won't get any time with the teacher. And when I was at Bowdoin, we actually got to sit in a class, and it was introduction to Russian, and there was only 11 students in there, and they had so much interaction with the teacher, and you couldn't just evade questions. She would just directly say your name and say, you answer that, and you couldn't be hide behind the kid next to you or something and answer the question. And I really feel that that environment will help me succeed. And what I want to do in the future is I had the honor of having one of the greatest history teachers ever, Mrs. Bradley. I've always liked history, but she just made history come alive for me to the point where after each lecture I would feel the need to research more on the topic just to learn more. And I just want to instill this passion of history to future students, and that's why I want to be a history teacher.
What motto or saying best reflects your approach towards life?
Just keep on trucking, basically. If anything gets in your way, you can't just dwell on it. My friend just gave me advice. I was just a bit iffy about speech, and she goes, what's in the past is in the past. You just have to keep looking to the future and just keep trucking on. And that's what really describes me.
Okay, well, this kind of ties my next question, kind of ties into what you want to do. Historical figures. If you could have a conversation with any historical figure, who would it be? And what would you talk to them about?
Since I was little, I've always had a fascination with aviation, and since I was first introduced to her during one of my history classes, I would always wanted to meet Amelia Earhart. She's just an inspiration. She was like in this male-dominated sports, I guess you could call it. She was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what y'all say. I'm gonna do it. And she did it. She just followed her dreams and became an aviator. And she broke all these records and allowed for more women to become in it. And I always thought that was so fascinating. And if I could speak to her about anything, I guess I would just talk to her. How does she feel when she's up there flying? And like, she is basically one with the machine, and all she can do is just look at the ground and just see how like God would look at it, you know, and just from that vintage view.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.